welcome everybody. As Sherry just mentioned, we are wrapping up the anti-aging month of focus on redox signaling molecules in all aspects. It's been a wonderful journey of reminding ourselves of how wonderfully and fearfully we're made, but also why some of us get healing and some of us don't. Why some of us get the response we want, and some of us work really hard and still, hit our head up against the wall and just don't find these breakthroughs. Well, I am a chiropractor for over 30 years, and I specialize in brain and spinal traumas. And having to go through my own story of becoming my own best patient and being in a head-on collision, I searched for many years. It took me 17 years to get all my abilities back and to feel nothing all the time, which was such a beautiful journey. And it was the same year, 11 years ago, that I found ASEA that it really enhanced everything that I was doing and helped me find that huge breakthrough of shedding my wheelchair and my medications and being able to go experience life again like they all said I never would. We actually moved our family out to Colorado and have spent many years skiing and dirt biking and golfing and hiking and all the things that they would tell somebody that was confined to a wheelchair that, be lucky you had those memories from before because you'll never do it again. Well, I overcame the odds, and it was because I was very persistent and very stubborn and making sure I had to keep fighting till I got where I was going. And also had a ton of faith in my body's ability to heal from within. And I just had to get out of the way. I had to give it the potential it deserved and get out of the way. Too many times people just get hung up on trying this and trying that, and they might not even try it right, and then they say it didn't work, and they give up on such an amazing thing that could have absolutely changed their life. So tonight we're wrapping up this whole topic, and we're going to talk about just anti-aging in a way of how has redox impacted this whole industry. There's a lot of things that people do for anti-aging, and redox is so woven into almost each and every one of them for better benefits. So our problem with our anti-aging and being able to find these breakthroughs that we mentioned in redox breakthroughs is that we're living in an environment that unfortunately is very toxic, and it's gotten exponentially more toxic over the decades than all of us that are on the call when we were children. We lived in a much cleaner environment. The air was cleaner, the water was cleaner. Our food was a lot different, let's just say. Now it can taste the same as it did from the same company's box that we used to make our food from when we were little. But the difference is back then there was 5 ingredients on the box. Now there's 500. Okay, and so we just live in a completely different environment, and that environment is affecting the air everywhere on our earth. So we're nobody's escaping the pollution that's in our air. And unfortunately, it's found its way from our soil, from our water sources, from the food that's manufacturing to cause major toxic disruptions within our own body's ability to try to maintain its health and its homeostasis. And so, unfortunately, we are living in a cesspool where everything we touch and eat has some sort of toxin in it, some sort of chemical that really wasn't designed to be in your body. And you know what? It's frustrating because now we're plagued with adult diseases as children. And it's because it's just escalated to the point that's gotten so far out of balance. People are chasing symptoms, trying to cover up a symptom and never really looking into the root cause of health. So when we talk about just an overview of these anti-aging trends, redox molecules is truly at the top of the list of anything that we can do to enhance cellular communication and allow our cells to function better. It's the redox chemistry that the cells are making on the inside. And unfortunately, with age, we're making less. But the more we learn about redox and tap into the potential benefits of it, we're going to learn to live a very long and healthy life. The second thing is personalized nutrition. A lot of people realize that we're just not getting the nutrients from our food. The soil's been depleted, there's chemicals in there as well, and it just doesn't look like it actually is on the inside and what it's actually doing for our health. So many people are seeking out very targeted, specific nutrition for their body's needs. Peptides and retinol is used in a lot of the skincare products because it can help boost the collagen in your skin and it help your aging slow down or even reverse to some degree. Intermittent fasting has become a big thing, and this is where we go through a period every day where we definitely don't eat. So this gives your body time to process the energy from your previous meal and actually turn it into body parts for you. When we're constantly eating all the time, we're never getting enough energy for the healing side of things. We're having to digest and make energy from all that food. So, typical somebody that would intermittent fast would maybe not eat after 6 o'clock at night or 7 o'clock. You want to basically have a few hours before you go to bed for that food to pass your stomach. And then they don't eat again until about 10 or 11 in the morning, somewhere around 16 to 18 hours is an ideal time to have a break from eating each day. Stem cell therapies become very popular. We realize we make much less stem cells as we get older, so we can't replace our tissues so quickly and so fast. So many people dive into the stem cell realm. However, what you're going to realize in a little bit is that it's not going to be as effective as many of you hope for if you don't have the redox potential in your cells to begin with, because it's the redox that's transcribing that DNA to copy it into the stem cell. And if you don't have enough workers doing that, you can have a whole boatload of stem cells, but you're not going to ever be able to feed them and get them to be used the way that you think that they're going to be used. Mindfulness and stress reduction. So many people have learned to adapt to the stress and just stay wide open all day long and put more things on their plate than they can do, and they're realizing that it's causing us to age quickly and burn out. And so, if we want to have a wonderful life at the last quarter or half of our life, we need to pay attention to trends and things that are happening in our bodies now before it gets to the point that it's too late to turn that around. And of course, we've talked about this in the past, but focusing on your own gut health. This is the cell phone antennas that your cells are talking to be able to get that signal to your body. So if we don't have good gut health, your longevity is going to be majorly compromised. So with that, we understand that health is something that's very dynamic and it's constantly changing. And if you take your thumb off the pulse for a minute, it's going to sneak past you. And then unfortunately, you're going to end up with things that might be irreversible. So, to understand what are redox signaling molecules, you're going to hear me talk about this all month. These are the molecules that are made inside every cell of our body, and they're used by the antioxidants to neutralize free radicals. Okay, so there's some words in there that might be new to some of you. An antioxidant is this green molecule here that is created within our cells. Glutathione is the most abundant one. And they basically, like the sheriff in town who has a whole bunch of redox molecules around it, which means it can reduce or oxidize. It can take or give an electron in order to complete the pair on the free radical side. Anytime one of those bonds have been broken, it starts acting very radical and causing damage to things in your body. And so, we have a fail-safe mechanism to feed that nutrient or that molecule an electron to neutralize the stress. Now, if we don't have enough redox to handle the antioxidant load that we have to neutralize the stress, well, guess what? Bad cells get in and they get damaged and they start creating havoc in our bodies. So it's important that we keep the potential of our immune system healthy and the potential of every one of our cells healthy to be able to defend themselves against those free radical bad cells. So the aging, it begins in our cells. We think, oh, it's our skin that we see it. It's our muscles get, less. We atrophy or it's my energy ages. No, it's every cell in your body is going through the same process. They start off with having all sorts of mitochondria, which are your little battery producers. These are the ones that are making you energy. but unfortunately, they don't live as long as you do. And so we're constantly replacing them. And eventually, each year, we lose the ability to make about 1%. So as we get older, we need these more to repair the damage, and we make less. So that's the big dilemma is how do we stop aging when we can't even produce the molecules we need to do it? Well, there's going to be an answer for you later in the show today. So it all boils back to inside our cells, we want to maintain this homeostasis. And when we have too many free radicals that maybe are negatively charged, our body's going to produce a nitrogen species, a reactive nitrogen species, or a hydrogen with a positive charge to neutralize the negativity. Okay, and that brings the cell happy again. Or it can be out of balance with molecules with positive charges that are building up and building up and building up, creating again an imbalance. So we need to create a redox signaling molecule that has a negative charge like oxygen to neutralize that. So this is happening a trillion times a second in every one of your cells. And we're kind of oblivious to it. We just hope it happens. And you know what? It is happening. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to sustain life for 3 minutes without these amazing molecules. But as I mentioned, we're going to age. And as we age, our ability to keep making all these chemical reactions to the tune of about 65 quadrillion chemical reactions a second, where we're donating and adding electrons. Think of the redox molecules as the vowels of our alphabet. They're very important. They're part of every word. And so, just like you see in the structures here, you can see an oxygen and an hydrogen in almost every compound in our body. They're what's binding certain molecules to make bigger molecules, to make different enzymes, to make proteins. Redox molecules are the electrical component that literally makes everything happen within our cells. And the cell can only have a couple types of stress. It's either rusting or degenerating, or it's inflammatory or it's reacting to the stress. And so, if either one stays there for too long and isn't just an event that our body goes in and heals, we're going to create all sorts of conditions that you see here on the screen. Most of them would be oxidative stress, as far as most people's symptoms in the world. But it all boils down to this: your body has a very distinct priority list of how to keep you alive at this moment. And that is the number one goal, is to make sure that it doesn't take its thumb off your pulse right now in this moment. It's going to keep you alive, which that means it has to maintain your vital signs, your blood pressure, your respiratory rate, your pulse rate, your oxygen saturation, and the pH of your blood. If any of those get out of what we call our vital balance or vital signs within homeostasis, you're not going to live for very long with those out of balance. Some of them are much more critical, like the blood. That pH is off a tenth, you can't carry oxygen anymore. And that is going to be a problem. So we know that our body wants to keep us alive more than anything. So once that's checked off, okay, Mark's alive. He's doing pretty good right now. Then it's going to check all my vital signs and say, you know what? Maybe the blood pressure is a little high. Let's focus on what we can do to help with that. Before it starts looking on anything else, it wants to make sure that everything is within that range. Okay, Mark's vital signs are high. What's next? Okay, well, we got some damaged cells, some scars, some injuries, some things that they've been there for years. We've never had enough energy to get around to healing that because it wasn't critical, like staying alive. And now that we have those things in balance, let's go ahead and start to repair some of these old injuries. So some of you realize that the longer you're taking ASEA and these molecules, the more things get healed. Yeah, you're getting further down your punch list of what your body has in the repairs and the damage that it wants to fix. And once all of those things are doing pretty darn well, then guess what? All of its extra energy focuses on how can we keep this alive for another 100 years? How can we keep this alive longer? What else can we do to fine tune everything to make it even better than it is? If you give it potential, it wants to do everything with the potential that you're giving it. So healing always comes from within. Like I said, the first goal, charge your cells. You have to have potential in order to do anything. So half of the energy that your mitochondria spit out every day does nothing more than charge your cells for you. Now it has potential. The second thing it does is it needs to get online. You need to be able to signal other cells and tell them what's going on in your cell. What do I need? Where do I need help? And where does that come from? Well, signaling is the second thing that it's going to make sure it turns on. And then after that, okay, now it can protect, it can detect, it repair, it can replace cells, it can do all the things that we know our body's very capable of doing, but we have to have power. It has to be able to communicate. Okay, well, these are fundamental redox truths, and it's the truth of every cell in your body before it gets into the detect and repair and longevity genes and aspects. It needs to be able to do the first two steps very easily and effectively. So here's the benefits of redox in your anti-aging world. Oxidative stress, damage repair. There's nothing else on the planet that can make this happen faster. It's what your body's producing to do that job. So when we can give it extra, oh my goodness, oxidative stress goes bye-bye. Cellular signaling pathways, that's what we just talked about. It has to be able to communicate stem cell function and maintenance. We have stem cells coming in, multi-million dollar cell here. We don't want to waste it. Do we have one ready? Do we have some DNA ready that needs repair? Oh, we have a tendon? Good. Give me the DNA. Tendon, it gets into that cell, it becomes a tendon cell. Okay. And so all the function and maintenance of stem cells is governed through redox chemistry. Now, the modulation of our aging and how fast or how slow we age, it just goes back to, do you have a buildup of oxidative stress or not? The more oxidative stress you continue to put into your body, whether it's deliberate or non-deliberate, it causes an effect on the overall health of each cell. And then our inflammatory response. This is a redox reaction. When oxidative stress is building up and my glutathione can't put the little fire out, it's going to call the fire truck. Now, inflammation and oxidation should be an event. It should be a thing that our body had to call a signal, get the fire truck here, put the fire out, then send the fire truck back home. Okay, it should be an event that lasts the appropriate amount of time and then it's over and you're back to homeostasis and healed. If for some reason inflammation just stays on all the time, that's autoimmune, and now that's lack of redox, signaling is not working right, and your body thinks it's under attack all the time, even if it's not under attack, and that can create a lot of havoc. So here's the current challenges we have with anti-aging. We have to make 65 quadrillion chemical reactions every second in our body. We're making millions of proteins every second in our body. And those proteins are nothing more than binding molecules together. And when we start throwing in free radicals and toxic molecules or things that are radically damaging things that they're touching, it's interfering with our body's ability to maintain simple things like building protein structures and building and replacing cells. So, as I said, we're in a time where toxic exposure has majorly been increased from what it's ever been on this planet before, and we're living in it. And a lot of people aren't really even paying attention. They think they can get away with being breathing certain things and eating certain things and drinking things that is going to cause some havoc in our bodies. And we think, ah, my body's pretty good. I feel fine. Okay. You feel fine, but you're costing yourself major reserves that are building up to be able to keep that potential going all day long, to be able to signal when things aren't right for I need repair. And so the problem that we're having is most people out there are top heavy, which means you take all these supplements. I take a bunch of antioxidants 'cause I get sick all the time. But if you don't have redox, it's like you have one fireman and you just gave him 50 fire extinguishers. It's not going to make a difference. He's only got two arms. So he can grab a couple and use them until they're done. Then he'll have to go put them down and go get a couple more. So many people are doing something that they think is benefiting their health, but they're not prepared to maximize that new thing because they just don't have the potential. They don't make enough redox to do that job the way they used to when they were 20. And so they keep thinking adding more supplements, add more supplements. You know, if you had the potential, you would need a whole lot less of everything because you'd be able to break it down, assimilate, and actually absorb it. So the need for innovation is super important. So let's talk about what things we have seen in my own practice that have really truly made such an impact since we've added redox to it. So first of all, there's a lot of people seeking antioxidant solutions and seeking anti-aging solutions. Like they want to have, you know, complete health until their very last day. And so that takes effort. Sometimes it takes money, but it takes discipline of doing certain things all the time. Now, there are devices and technologies on the market called PEMF mats. It's a pulse electromagnetic frequency, and it's basically a grounding mat. It's equivalent to going walking on the beach or on the grass for an hour with your bare feet. What you're doing when you do that, it's called grounding, and you are literally absorbing all these electrons from the earth core that's charging your cells for you, just like our mitochondria does by eating food and oxygen. And so we're giving our body more redox molecules by just grounding ourselves, walking barefoot on the earth. Now, you have to be careful of pesticides and chemicals and things that are sprayed on the lawn nowadays, unfortunately. But the beach is a pretty safe bet in the ocean, really safe bet. Lots of redox molecules you're being exposed to. So the premise here is if you can charge your cells by being on a grounding mat, then all your energy, the half of the energy that you make every day to charge your cells, you don't need to use it to charge your cells. You can use it to signal and then to begin the healing process, which gives you that leg up on things. And so, again, when we want to find a breakthrough, we have to master vital signs, immune system, everything is strong, signaling is strong and working great, then we repair, right? So when we can have extra energy to repair, oh my goodness, that goes a long way. Now we add on to that, adding redox molecules, pretty much the molecules from grounding charge your cells for the whole day. The molecules that you make are going into signaling everything that you need because now it's got twice as much signaling power. And then the molecules you're drinking are helping your body go right into that repair side of things. So we also have laser therapy. This is photobiomodulation. And this is amazing to basically immediately charge your cell and turn on signaling. Now, it doesn't last long, but it does help get things activated, having potential again. And then we see amazing turnovers happen and the results, depending on what parts of the body and what tissues are a little bit different. But still, it's the same thing. It's charging the cell for you, turning up its potential. Now we have our own potential to add to that. And then we add some supplement of redox to add to that. Again, the breakthroughs are amazing. I have been doing clinical studies on brain health with both of these technologies for years, and we do it with people consuming the redox molecules and people that don't. And it's really sad to say how much less results we get if you're not on redox. Which brings me to my favorite testimony of redox. And this was what I noticed 10 years ago, right out of the gate. We do neurofeedback training where we hook up sensors to the head and it's controlling whether the patient can see the TV or not. And they're watching movies. And so it's basically helping us target and grow new tissue in your brain in areas that either weren't developed well or damaged from a trauma or toxins or so forth. So there's lots of different ways that can dysregulate the brain. But because your brain has 2 million times more oxidative stress than any other cell in your body, because it's got over 2 million mitochondria in each cell, we need to have 20% of our blood and our energy just to neutralize it. Even though it's just 3% of our body weight, we need 20% of our blood to keep the fire down, okay? Because it's burning so much energy. So when we do brain training exercises, we're very limited to maybe 30 minutes to an hour twice a week. And we can't push the brain too much further than that, or they'll get headaches, they'll be tired, they'll sleep all day. and it'll drain too much from them. When we started adding redox, it was the most amazing phenomena I've seen in practice yet. People could go from 30 minutes to 4 hours straight, never get a headache, never burn out, never need to take a day off. So we went from 30 minutes twice a week to 4 hours every day for a month, which is 120 hours in a month compared to 4 hours a month. So incredible differences. It's allowed people to catapult their health challenges right to the front of the line and overcome some amazing things. I have thousands of testimonies of people that have been able to push their limits and go so much further because they increased their potential. So where is Redox going? I would say it's safe to say that when you improve the potential within your own body, I've showed you three technologies here that we use, and we can get almost double the results if you're using Redox. I'm sure the same premise works for every other piece of therapy that anybody would ever do. You might have tried a therapy one time and didn't really have favorable results. Well, you didn't have enough potential. It might be worth circling back around now that you have ample redox potential and you might be able to get way more out of those technologies than you ever had. Here's an example of somebody that was on redox for 90 days. I'm sorry, 60 days. This was 30 and then 60 days. And they were at a grade, almost a grade 4 concussion. This is a concussion index that if it's in the gray, you can play. If it's out of the gray, you're benched. And whether it's military or whether it's professional sports. And so within the first month, we got right to the border. Within the second month, completely eliminated all of the different symptoms that they were having because of that previous injury. So, what it all boils down to is we have an amazing solution to not only help you get more out of all the different things you're doing for your health right now, and I just named a couple. I mean, if you have redox potential increased before you go exercise, whether you're doing cardio or lifting weights, you will be able to withstand so much more. You'll be more resilient, you'll recover faster, and you will grow stronger quicker. It is truly amazing. And so it's all about maximizing longevity. Okay. And but to do that, we need to be working at that daily, starting actually today. If you are not in the know about what we can do with this amazing redox product, make sure you're getting back to the person because this is the supplement where all healing begins. It begins within the cell, making these molecules out of your little tiny powerhouses of each cell. It's going to increase the chemistry and the potential in every cell in your body. Okay. And it already knows where it's going. So you don't have to worry about that. Just consume it and let it do what it needs to do. And that's bring your body to homeostasis fast and then start healing. Okay. That's where it comes from. And so this is such an incredible product that will absolutely bring out the best inner you you've seen to date in a very, very long time. We absolutely love these molecules. It's very simple. They use these amazing technology to do what our body already does inside that mitochondria and gives us these four stable molecules inside that bottle. That's two positive and two negative molecules that are not neutralizing each other. That's phenomenal right there. They say that's impossible. Physics won't let that happen, but they figured it out and they have over 7,000 trade secrets to protect that. And that's what a seer redox is. Nobody else on the planet can make it. They don't know how to break the law of physics and be able to stabilize these molecules. They're stable for up to 2 years in that bottle. And that's incredible because they last a trillionth of a second outside the bottle when you're making them for yourself. You don't make them and store them for when I'm going to need energy. I need energy, I'm making them. I need more energy, I got to make more at the same time. And so you have to be able to have the potential to fluctuate and be able to make more or make less depending on the immediate demands of your body. And remember, its number one goal, keep you alive, keep you healthy, homeostasis, and then healed. And every cell in your body has a turnover rate, so it wants to be healed. And if it's not being healed within that time, guess what? Your body will kill the cell and say, okay, this one's not getting better. Let's just take it out. I need a new stem cell, please. And it just recalls and gets a new one. So this power that made you, that lives within you, it's never abandoned you from the time you were born, and it wants nothing more than to reach your full potential, whether you think you want to or not. It wants to. And if you learn to work with it, you will get so much further than you've ever gotten in your health. So that's what redox molecules are. They're enhancing our life and they're going to maintain a better quality of life for the remainder of it. Now, in no way I'm trying to diagnose, treat, cure any conditions that you might have. Only your body can do that healing. We heal from within. And so we don't claim that this heals us. This gives us potential. And with that potential, our cells know how to heal themselves and how to repair themselves or replace if it comes down to that. So I hope this was informative to you. And I hope that you really start tapping into the redox truth for anti-aging and live your best life yet. Thanks so much, and we'll pass it back to Sherry.